Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Yasmine Flores and I am your host. Welcome back to another episode of The Arts at EPCC. Today we have another episode that includes performances from our very own music students here at El Paso Community College. The concert band, which consists of MUEN 1121, 1122, 2121, and 2122, meets on Mondays and Wednesdays every week in the fall and spring. It is under the direction of Mr. Irving Cuellar, who is sitting here with me today. Hello, Mr. Cuellar. How are you?
Good.
Excellent.
Good to be here.
Thank you so much. So I was going to say, so you've been conducting the band now for over a year. 2 years?
A little over maybe. It was all virtual for a while,
That's
so
right.
it's kind of hard to say I was conducting when it was virtual, but
Sure.
yeah, it's conducting. Yeah,
Okay,
that's me.
awesome. Yes, so tell me a little bit about it. So basically, and I used to conduct the band.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Oh no.
Here's the thing. I will tell you, I started the band with 5 people in 2000, I think it was 2017. And slowly but surely, we were gaining momentum.
Yes.
Right? We were all gaining, all the ensembles were starting to build, we were starting to build. Kaboom, here comes the pandemic.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everything just kind of comes to a crashing halt.
Absolutely, yeah.
So at that point, I was kind of discussing things with my boss at the time, and I said, you know, it's so difficult. This is probably one of the most difficult classes to teach online in an online capacity. And this is felt across the world in high schools, middle schools, colleges, everywhere.
Absolutely, yes.
And more so than anything else. I mean, I don't know how the sciences did labs. I don't know how other classroom teachers were able to hold class. I mean, I just kind of heard small nightmare stories about kids playing games on the side, you know, like
absolutely, yes. It's one of those classes that has to be very hands-on. So there's a lot of classes here at EPCC where you need to be in person, and you couldn't. It was just, but we did what we could. We did some recordings, and you know, the students did very well. Yeah.
Yes, they did. You know, I was so proud of everybody, and the thing is that a lot of people don't understand or take into consideration what all goes into recordings.
Yes.
So in the spring of 2020, when I was just wrapping up my involvement with concert band, it was that everybody sent me recordings of themselves playing their parts.
Yes.
I gave that to Daniel Becker, who's our wonderful lab assistant, and he put everything together. He said, okay, I've cut and paste, I've layered all the recordings on top of each other so that it sounds cohesive, right? So it sounds like one ensemble. And when I heard it, and let me explain, across the world, this became a problem.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of directors suddenly pressed the brakes, like, because they were like, oh gosh. So here's the issue. Intonation, which means tuning, right? Tuning your instrument. It was like, okay, well, this person is consistently 5 cents sharp. Good for them. They're consistent.
Yeah.
Problem is that this person is consistently 7 cents flat.
Yeah.
And so when you're starting to pace, not only that, but with no conductor, right, in front of them, then there's certain beats that don't line up.
Yes, that was a big thing. Rhythm was, if you're just like one beat off, everything.
It throws everything off.
Everything off.
Right.
So that was...
Daniel did such a beautiful job of putting those recordings together, and I heard them and I said, you know what, just for the sake of the department, I'm not gonna put these up. And everybody felt that way at all the colleges, at all the high schools. I even heard, I think it was one of the U.S. military bands was going to put together a recording. And I think it does exist on YouTube, but even that was not stellar.
Yeah.
And these are some of the top musicians in the world.
Well, for the time, we really didn't know how to record from home. It was a very big issue. And even our virtual classes like Zoom, it's not formulated for musicians. Like Zoom I would play for my students something and it would think I was yelling at it and it would mute it right away. So I would go back in the recordings and I'd be like, why am I so muted? And there's like a small button in the settings somewhere in there where you had to turn it off. And I found it after like 2 weeks.
Oh, no.
And then that's when I realized I had to tell everyone. I got it from a friend actually that told me. But during Zoom, Zoom thinks you're yelling at it if you're playing an instrument in the recording, and it would just mute everything, and I would just go, well,
that's funny.
Let's change this up.
And it's true now that you mentioned that, because I was using Skype for lessons.
Yes.
And this was lessons that I was teaching outside the college, because we're only allowed to use certain platforms, through the college, and so Skype was not one of them. So Skype, I was using that to teach this young lady. And she would go mute. And now that you mention it, the whole time I was like, I hear her for a moment.
Yes, and then
it just drops.
It drops, and you go, why? But then 30 seconds later, they come back.
Yes.
And you go, why is that happening?
Right.
So Skype probably has that weird button in the settings somewhere that you have to turn off.
That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, good things to know that I didn't know at the time.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely right. It was very hard to navigate that. And so I have to thank you so much for your patience. For 2 years, we were essentially online for about a year and a half. And so, which is insane. We came back in the fall of 21.
Yes.
We came back socially distanced.
Yes.
And so that was an adventure for everyone.
Yes.
Private lessons, we had to pick the biggest room and sit miles away from the student so that we were not in close proximity. Even on the show, we used to have a bigger table.
Yes.
And it was like, I remember the very first episode I did, I interviewed Ted Carber, and he was literally like 7
10 miles
feet.
away.
Right.
Like,
he was in Canutio. And so, and we had to maintain a lot of those things. And that being said, we're back now. We had recordings in the studio. And let me explain why we did that. We did that because we still couldn't quite have an audience here at EPCC.
For concerts, we couldn't do anything with an audience yet.
Right. And so EPCC being super cautious, which I am grateful for, let me tell you, because I did catch the little COVID, that little buggy, right? And it was cute for about 5 seconds, and then I got over it, and I was like up and down with a fever, right? But so I'm very grateful that the college has been extremely cautious, but to the point that, yes, we couldn't really have an audience. And so the department decided that we would have these recordings in the studio. And the studio was kind enough, Marco Lara, and of course the cameramen who were kind enough to record everything and mic everything. It's quite complicated to get everything recorded and whatnot. And so I'm very grateful to EPCC TV for doing that. So this was a small group. We're back in our rebuilding stage, right? And the benefits to having the small ensemble, and let me explain this to everybody, because a lot of music education majors don't think about this. When I went to school many moons ago, there was a class for music education majors to learn the grade 1 and grade 2 repertoire. Okay, and so we used to take this. So we would learn to conduct. Each of us would take a round to conduct the ensemble.
Yes.
Everybody was playing their secondary instrument, and we would play grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3 music.
Yeah.
Because chances are, when you get your first job out there, folks, everybody thinks they're going to be I'm applying to be the band director at Hanks. Oh, really? Wow. You and 50 other people, right? Yeah. So usually your first job is at a little elementary school or a little middle school.
Middle school, yeah.
And guess what you're going to be playing? The grade 1, grade 2, and if you're lucky, grade 3.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Those grade threes are a little tricky though.
Right,
they're a little,
exactly.
Not careful.
I know. Oh yes, that was the dessert.
Yes. Yeah.
When I used to conduct the band, it was like, okay, so we're gonna do this little salsa. It was like cute salsa for young kids, or whatever it's called, right? Yeah. And then I would say, okay, now here's the Lion King. We're going to practice this a lot. Okay.
Please practice it at home.
Right. I know you guys love it, but if you love it so much, you need to play it a lot. And so we were working on the Lion King in the spring of 20, which again, sadly that didn't happen, but we are in a rebuilding stage. They're learning the grade 1, grade 2 repertoire. They get a lot of one-on-one instruction with you because it is a small group. So anybody out there, and also you can join any of these ensembles on the continuing ed side. Okay, so if the number doesn't exist, give us a call and we can make that number exist for you if you'd like to take it.
We did have a student, that
that's
was
right.
continuing ed.
Yes, you did. Yeah. Yes.
A wonderful trumpet player.
Yes, absolutely.
Amazing.
He is very sweet. I like working with him. And yes, you're absolutely right. So any of the 7 ensembles can be taken on the continuing education side. And this is just really, these ensembles, they serve so many great purposes. Not only for the community folks that want to come in and just play, the music education folks that want to learn the repertoire, but also for people that are just starting out on their instrument. It's a no pressure situation, right?
Absolutely,
It's just like, look at your fingering chart, let's work it out, and let's make it happen.
Clap this rhythm together, you'll be fine.
Right, exactly. And so I am so grateful for you, and you're such a patient person, and so sweet and so kind. And I have to tell everybody at home, he's a joy to work with. Join the concert band, everybody. Okay, MUEN 1121, and like I said, he's one of 7. This is one of 2 episodes of our ensembles here at EPCC that recorded this past spring, as a matter of fact. And so these episodes will be airing probably in another month or so.
Okay, cool.
But because I know you're eager to hear them too. You're
When's it gonna happen?
Right. But they did a great job, and it was a great experience for them because they also had the opportunity to record in a studio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the lights. It was very bright.
Yeah.
They were a little nervous. So was I, but they did wonderful. They played really great.
Great.
I'm very happy with how it came out. So.
Yeah, me too. And I heard the recordings and I said, oh, this is good. We can build on this.
Yeah.
It is really terrific. So I hope they all come back and that we get a few more of you out there.
Yes.
Dust off your clarinet, dust off your flute, dust off, whatever licorice stick you have hanging around, right? And join the concert band here at EPCC. If you all have any questions, you can find my contact information at the bottom of the screen. And again, this is Mr. Irving Cuellar, who is with us part-time. Thank you so much, everybody, and enjoy the show.
is Nottingham Castle, Larry Dane.